So, hey guys, how you doing? So, I posted this printer on the Ender 3 subreddit like yesterday, I think. And some people asked if I may make a video about it or explain a little more. So I thought, yeah, let's go a little bit more into detail than what's possible on Reddit. And yeah, here it is. So we got a quad extruder, 4 in, 1 out mixing hot end. It's printing something to hold the screen to the rail at the moment. It's not perfect right now, so we have some mechanical things to do as well as software support for this, because I had to implement a stale pull request on the Clipper repo that implements mixing extruders like this, and I implemented it into the Calico fork of Clipper, and that's what's running on this SKR 1.3 right here, which I use as an extruder controller. And down there is the original Creality 4.2.2 in here as the motion controller. I also printed some spool holders for the sides with a little bit of scaffolding around it to keep everything together. I just really like the way it looks. It's quite compact for what it is. You can see here are the extruders up top. I have some Bowden tubes going down to the spools. Just very, very rudimentary at the moment. Also, this fan right here is here to cool the steppers because they get quite hot. I haven't really done any adjustment of, driver current and stuff like that. Also, those are the flat Creality steppers, not the extruder ones, because I only had those one at hand right now. And I switched the one for the extruder I had to the Z-axis right here, because I have a synchronized Z-axis and we also have a very heavy tool head, so I thought maybe just give this one a little more power. And also we have all of these feeding into the extruder. I know they, in theory, all of them need to push the same pressure into here, so having them smaller doesn't really make sense at all, but in terms of volume per hour or per minute, whatever you want to call it, they have to push a quarter of a normal extruder. So yeah, some things had to be sacrificed here. Also, just the PSU in the back, just lying there right now. The board in here, the host controller, so to speak, is a Pine 64 LTS. It has the Pi 02 CPU, which is a quad core, I don't know how many gigahertz ARM CPU, but it also has 2 gigabytes of RAM instead of the, I think, 500 megs of the Pi 2.0. So I like that as kind of a development board. Have a little bit more RAM for everything running on it and compiling and stuff like that. So yeah, that's everything in terms of the hardware setup. And now let's get over to the software setup. So on the software side of things, obviously we are running Clipper. I have the mainsail UI up right now. When we have a look into the printer config, pretty standard printer config, everything we need in here, nothing fancy. We also have a print head config, which is the config for the obviously the print head driver, but the SKR 1.3 that implements all the extruders. Stuff like that. We have a couple of fans on there, 2 very loud, very big fans right here. They are running at 50% right now for the Bowden tube cooling, and I think that's plenty. Let me have a touch at them. Yeah, they're not even warm, nothing like that. So I think those coolers running at 50% makes them a heck of a lot more quiet, and also it's not needed to push that much air. Also, you can see the print quality right now is yucky. I have to do a lot more calibration. Also, it comes with a 0.8 millimeter nozzle, which is quite large, and I think those hot ends with a huge melt zone are very bad at like retractions, so they have very bad string and stuff. And having a big nozzle makes that even worse, because when pulling back the filament, we can't really create enough of a suction in the hot end to efficiently pull back the molten filament into the nozzle. So I got 0.4 and 0.6 millimeter nozzles on the way, so I can test everything with the smaller nozzle, because I really don't need to have this as big of a nozzle right now. I just like to play around with this in terms of mixing multi-materials, like embedding TPU into PLA. It's a video of CNC Kitchen I saw a while ago, which inspired me to do this. And yeah, I will play around with that in the coming weeks. For now, we have just 4 spools of PLA. I have this multicolor PLA from Creality, I think, which I tried to spool some of the different colors of. And so yeah, at the moment we are mixing every extruder with 25%. I have my other setups to set to every extruder to 10%, except one of the others, which is set to 70%. This seems to be quite a good solution in terms of getting one of the colors more prominent, and also not having the others get too hot so they clog, and yeah, that's another common issue with those mixing hot ends. They're very finicky to get working correctly in the mixing setups. Yeah, so right now we can see this is somewhat rough. Like I said, we have some under extrusion up here. As you can see, some that looks like quite good extrusion. The bottom layer as well, some over and I think under extrusion it looks like. Yeah, it's a little bit finicky. Also, pressure advance doesn't work at the moment with mixing extruders, because even in Clipper I think it's a known bug at the moment, or not a known bug, but maybe also just a known limitations. I will have to look into the software. But yeah, in Clipper, if you have more than one extruder synced, in Clipper you can sync all those extruders. It works perfectly for the 25, 25, 25 and 25 mixing, but having different ratios doesn't work in Clipper. But when you apply pressure advance only gets applied to the one extruder which all the others are synced to. So that for me is the first one. And if I just apply pressure advance to that one, that will maybe work when I have 70% of this and 10 of the others. But on a 25 or on a quarter mix of every extruder, obviously this one just speeding up and slowing down doesn't do a whole lot in terms of pressure advance. So I will have to look into the software. Maybe we can get this bug fixed in Clipper itself, or we will pull it to the or we maybe modify the software on the Calico repo. I will have to look into that. Also, I have a simple 2-color mixing variant here. We can see I had some interrupts because the firmware on one of the boards doesn't play nice with some of this as well. I don't really know why at the moment. I have an issue opened on the Calico repo. So I think we will get into that in the next days. So those are, I think, 97% one color, and yeah, like just 1% the other colors. So you can see there is really no mixing happening at all. But to get it work, I had to switch to the 70% and 30% of the other colors. So you can see the base color is yeah, has a lot of the other colors mixed into it, obviously. But the other color, which is also 70% green, 70% blue, and 30% of all the others mixed in, you can really see the difference. So it's working somewhat, not perfectly. Also, this was printed without a perch tower, so you can really change the color while printing. Obviously, because we have a long melt zone, the mixing filament or the change of the color is not immediately and not as fast as with like a shorter melt zone. But if we have a little more space, like here on the rim, when we switch the color, just like I think a quarter of the rim will still be in the old color and then go over to the next one. So if we slice and color our model smart, I think this is the fastest way to get multi-color printing to work. Because yeah, we don't need to do any pooping, we don't need to print a perch tower. That makes stringing a lot less worse, a lot less bad. So I think it's a very, very good concept. Obviously, at the moment, I don't have it working quite right. But if I get any thing to work better, or with my multi-material or meta-material, like Stefan from CNC Kitchen called it, anything of that to work or work better, I will keep you guys updated. Also, I might start a GitHub repo detailing everything I did for the setup. It's not that involved, it's just the board configs and the Orca slicer config and stuff like that. And maybe I will also post the STLs or the step files of this holder for everybody wanting to try and give this a go. None of this is perfect. A lot of those parts are just like hastily put together, just printed on one of my others. I got my Zorval SVO8 down there and Ender 3 Max with the belted Z-axis conversion. So yeah, those ones I used for printing the parts. And yeah, like I said, it's also just printed from PLA. You can see those motors are drooping a little bit because of the heat they produced, and that's why I got the heat sinks down there and the fan up here. But yeah, it's a very crude setup. Also, I don't have enough fan ports on the SKR 1.3, so I'm using the heater 1 and heater 2 outputs as fan outputs, and the bed heater is used with both heating cartridges. This one comes with 2 heating cartridges, one on the right, one on the left, and it's running both heater cartridges of the bed heater. So yeah, like I said, very crude setup at the moment. I just saw that people had interest in it, so I thought I might showcase it a little bit. So yeah, see you guys.